R-Truth is leaving WWE again. Nick Khan refuses to let social media dictate WWE creative. Nick Khan admits to making mistakes in WWE leadership. Vince McMahon still has strong support to come back. Internal push for LA Knight to jump to Monday Night Raw. Saraya admits to hooking up with Jason Momoa's lookalike. Gunther is getting buried by WWE after beating Jey Uso. A WWE Hall of Famer is having twins. Another unfortunate update on Liv Morgan's situation. Let's dive right in. Nick Khan refuses to let social media dictate WWE creative. WWE President Nick Khan isn't fazed by online chatter and refuses to let social media keyboard warriors steer WWE's storytelling. In a candid chat on What's Your Story with Stephanie McMahon, Khan revealed he doesn't bother checking what people say about him online and never has. He shared his approach to staying focused on the bigger picture, no matter how much noise critics make on the internet. I've never once searched my name on X or Google. Whether it's good or bad doesn't matter to me. It's not real life. I try to keep my head down and work. If I'm doing something wrong, someone I trust will tell me. I'm not going to let someone with 14 followers decide how I feel about my day. Khan also made it clear that WWE's creative team isn't swayed by online opinions. While fan feedback is important, he stressed that pandering to the loudest complainers online is a dead-end strategy. We try to program for the universe, not the people who want to criticize you. That doesn't mean we don't care what people think, but it means we care more about everyone, not just the loudest voices. You want to serve the biggest audience, not the smallest, angriest one. He explained that this mindset is baked into WWE's creative process, especially with Triple H at the helm of storytelling. Paul Levesque and I talk about it all the time. We train our creative team to ignore the noise, trust the data, trust your instincts. Don't let Twitter or Reddit or whatever throw you off your game. Khan's no-nonsense leadership keeps WWE focused on its global audience, and social media gripes won't change that anytime soon. He also shared a lighthearted story about how his kids roast him harder than anyone online, despite their close and respectful bond. Yeah, let me tell you. And by the way, you guys know this. You have children. Nobody talks seem to me like my kids do, and I love them. I think we have a very close relationship, and I think they're very respectful kids. But when they saw that Wheel of Fortune clip, it was like, what did you have in your hair? Which, for the record, was pomade at the time, in case anyone knows what that is. And then they're like, what kind of tie were you wearing? And it's not like I'm some fashion expert, but you know this from your time in New York. Those tie racks at those little tchotchke stores? 3 ties for $7.99. And when you're 25, I'm thinking, I gotta get 3 ties for $8. That was one of those ties. So yeah, they made fun of me for that. Khan added that his kids kept poking fun when they saw an old documentary clip, pointing out his once black hair and skinnier frame, with no compliments for how far he's come. Then some other clip popped up in a documentary and they were like, man, this was from a long time ago. Your hair wasn't white. It wasn't even gray. It was black, and you were so skinny. Where's the compliment here? Anyone want to say like, hey, you've come a decently long way? Nope. Nobody says that. While Khan drives WWE's worldwide success, his kids keep him humble with their relentless teasing. It just proves he's a regular guy at heart, and fans admire that realness. Nick Khan admits to making mistakes in WWE leadership. WWE has undergone major shifts in leadership recently, with Triple H running creative and Nick Khan as president. Even with their strong partnership, mistakes happen, and Khan isn't afraid to admit it. During a chat with Stephanie McMahon on What's Your Story, Khan revealed that he and Triple H mess up in business all the time, but they lean on each other to fix things. When one thinks they've made a bad call, they hash it out, rethink the plan, and find a better way forward. Paul and I, Triple H, and I make mistakes in business every day. The good thing is we have each other. We can say, hey, I think I messed this up. What do you think? And if one of us says, yeah, maybe that wasn't the best move, then we think of another way. We try that. When things go wrong, they bring the issue to the executive committee or senior leadership team, admit the error, and pitch a new plan. Everyone aligns to push forward together. Khan emphasized that mistakes are part of growth. He takes the blame when things flop, but shares the credit for successes, which defines his leadership style. Then, in the executive committee meeting or with the senior leadership team, we'll say, hey, this didn't work. We're pivoting. We're doing X, Y, and Z instead. And everyone rows in the same direction. If there's a mistake, because we're going to make mistakes, failure is part of learning. But if it's a mistake, it's on me, not on you. If it's a win, it's on you. If we fail at something, it's 100% my responsibility. If we succeed, it's everyone else's success. That's just how I like to lead, and that's how I feel inside. Khan also told his executives that if they share a problem with him, it becomes a team effort to solve it, or he'll take the fall if they can't. But if they hide an issue and fail to fix it alone, it could jeopardize their role in the company. What I tell our executives is, If you have a problem and you bring it to me, it becomes our problem. We're either going to fix it or I'm going to fail trying to fix it. But if you have a problem and you don't bring it to me, better fix it on your own, or there's going to be a real problem for you when it comes to your future here. Khan also shared WWE's game plan with a laugh. When in doubt, they either mimic the NFL or do the opposite of boxing. He stressed it's fine to mess up as long as you learn and make it right. Look at WWE. We have two philosophies when we don't know what to do. Copy the NFL or do the opposite of boxing. If you make a mistake in decision making, that's okay too. Just fix it. This openness comes after WWE tried multiple times to reconnect with Ron Killings, R-Truth, after his release, only succeeding when Khan personally called to seal a deal. Khan's focus on what's best for business and his willingness to own mistakes make fans see him as a standout leader. Vince McMahon still has strong support to come back. Vince McMahon may no longer run WWE, but his influence in the wrestling world is still alive and kicking. While online chatter keeps buzzing about him possibly buying TNA Wrestling, a fresh update reveals a more personal story. Sports Illustrated's Justin Barrasso reports that, despite the controversies dogging McMahon, he still holds serious respect among many in the wrestling industry. McMahon recently kicked off a new company, 14th and I, to dive into sports, media, and entertainment projects. Though he made a move to buy Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, his name still resonates most in pro wrestling. Speaking with wrestlers off the record, there is a great deal of support for McMahon, as many note that McMahon is still held in high regard. This loyalty is striking, especially after the Janelle Grant lawsuit and WWE's public split from him. Yet, for wrestlers who worked closely with him, that bond runs deep. Barrasso also noted that insiders doubt McMahon's new firm, 14th and I, will jump into producing TV shows or movies anytime soon. Those with inside knowledge are not sold on the idea that McMahon's investment firm, 14th and I, is going to suddenly develop television shows or movies, a process that generally takes years to materialize. Even with WWE and major networks keeping him at arm's length, McMahon's legacy endures in wrestling locker rooms. Whether this support sparks a new wrestling project is unclear, but he's far from forgotten by those who know him best. Do you think Vince McMahon deserves this backing from wrestlers, or has the industry moved on? Internal push for LA Knight to jump to Monday Night Raw. LA Knight might soon be a regular on Monday Night Raw, with strong support from inside WWE. WrestleVotes reports that there's a major drive within the company to shift the SmackDown star to Raw, where he'd feature weekly on the Netflix exclusive show. Knight has been a standout on SmackDown, but many backstage believe his larger-than-life personality, charm, and fan base could inject new life into Raw. According to those within the company, we are told more than a handful of people are advocating for LA Knight to be moved to the Raw brand in the near future, as his presence on Netflix could be viewed as something of a refreshing change, the report stated. In his WWE career since February 2021, Knight has only competed on Raw twice, once in March 2023 against Cody Rhodes, and again in February 2024 against Ivar in an Elimination Chamber qualifier. He's made a few brief Raw appearances recently, but nothing consistent. That could be about to change. There are more than a handful of people, like we just said, that want to see him on Monday Night Raw each and every week, WrestleVotes added. As one of WWE's most electrifying stars, Knight's move to Raw could bring a huge boost to the show's new Netflix era. Whether WWE makes it official remains to be seen, but the backstage support is undeniable. Should LA Knight switch to Raw full-time, and is Netflix the ideal stage for him to shine? Saraya admits to hooking up with Jason Momoa's lookalike. Since splitting with Ronnie Radke of Falling in Reverse earlier this year, Saraya has been single and dishing out juicy dating tales. On Gabby Tuft's Rule Breakers podcast, she dropped a bombshell about hooking up with a guy who looked like Jason Momoa, but had a major letdown in the bedroom. She described the guy as massive, ripped, and super masculine, resembling the Game of Thrones star. Though he was drop-dead gorgeous, she found him a bit dim, but being single at the time, she decided to give it a shot. He was massive. Not just his body style. Very masculine. Looked like freaking, what's his name from Game of Thrones? What's his name? Oh, Jason Momoa. He had that kind of vibe. Like, handsome guy, kind of stupid. I was like, oh my god, this guy's dumb as F. But yeah, this was years and years ago, and I thought, heck, I'll be fine. You know, I was single, whatever. Yeah, why not? Things took a shocking turn when they got intimate. Saraya was floored to discover he had the tiniest manhood she'd ever seen. So small she felt nothing at all. She even joked a tampon had more impact. His lack of a girlfriend suddenly made sense, but his confidence blew her mind. Despite the awkwardness, she went through with it, though she compared it to puffing on a clove cigarette and had to fake her way through. And then, he pulls his trousers down, and it was just the smallest wiener I've ever seen in my F life. The tiniest F wiener I've ever seen in my life. I'm talking micro penis. Like micro penis, I couldn't feel it at all. I was like, a tampon gives me more sensation. It was just so tiny. I was like, oh, this is why you don't have a girlfriend. This makes sense. And the audacity to have the confidence he did, oh my God, what the F? I was in pure shock, but I'm like, well, since we're here, let's just see how it goes. You feel like you have to, like you're obligated. And in my mouth, it's like smoking a clove. Oh no, it was just bad. It was so bad. I faked it till I made it. Later, Saraya learned a friend had also hooked up with the same guy and had an identical experience, leading to a good laugh over his tiny manhood. The guy seemed aware of his size, shrugging it off with, "This is what God gave me." And Saraya noted his jacked physique seemed like overcompensation. Actually, I didn't realize my friend had hooked up with him too. Like, we just crossed stories and she was like, did you hook up with what's his name? And I was like, yeah. She goes, doesn't he have the smallest D ever? I was like, oh my God, you did it too, bastard. Yeah. And he was like, well, look at me. This is what God gave me. I mean, it was so bad. He had like 8,000 pounds of muscle on him to make up for it. And I did it one more time after that. Yeah, we were out drinking and stuff. He stayed at my house. And honestly, at least I knew I wasn't going to be sore. I couldn't feel a F thing. I was like, yeah, this is so bad. The dead fish had more life than him. Saraya's hilarious and candid story about this cringe-worthy hookup shows she's not shy about sharing her wild experiences. Fans are eating it up, and we'll see if she has more juicy tales to spill in the future. Gunther is getting buried by WWE after beating Jey Uso. A wrestling veteran has warned that Gunther might be crushed by WWE right after his big victory over Jey Uso. Goldberg is set to challenge the new World Heavyweight Champion at Saturday night's main event, where the ring general earned the title by defeating Uso. If Goldberg wins, he'd claim the championship, even though he recently let slip that he's retiring soon. Inside sources spoke out on Sportskeeda WrestleBinge's Legion of Raw, diving into Goldberg's clash with Gunther. They argued that since Gunther just steamrolled Uso, having him lose to a returning Goldberg would be a straight-up burial. Sources also heard whispers that Goldberg could win, only for Seth Rollins to cash in his Money in the Bank contract. There were people saying that Goldberg's going to beat Gunther, and Seth Rollins will cash in. And I'm like, that will be great for Gunther. We just buried Jey. Let's bury the guy that beat him, bro. I mean, come on, man. With the match still weeks away, anything could shift in the meantime. A WWE Hall of Famer is having twins. A WWE Hall of Famer is gearing up to become a dad to twins, according to his wife's big announcement. Katie Forbes shared the exciting news on One of a Kind with RVD about an hour ago. Just days earlier, Forbes and Rob Van Dam revealed they were expecting their first child next year, earning a flood of congratulations from wrestling stars and fans. In a huge update on the podcast, Forbes dropped the bombshell that they're actually expecting twins. Okay, y'all ready for this? So, we had our ultrasound today and we're having twins. There's two of a kind up in here, and we gotta hear their heartbeats, and they both have strong heartbeats. RVD and Forbes have been together for nearly a decade, meeting in 2016 and tying the knot 5 years later. On his One of a Kind with RVD podcast 2 years ago, the WWE icon shared how they first crossed paths. Katie and I met at WrestleCon in Dallas in 2016. She was there at the Wildcats booth with Luke Hawx, and I was just a few booths away from her, he said. She wanted to meet me. I didn't know, but I was already on her radar. She already had her eye on me. She was training with Wildcats, and she had asked Luke to bring me in because Luke would bring in some guys and do wrestling seminars, guys that aren't as expensive as RVD. RVD and Katie Forbes are over the moon, thrilled to welcome their twins next year. Another unfortunate update on Liv Morgan's situation. Liv Morgan suffered a brutal elbow injury on Raw this past week, and the latest update brings more bad news. Fightful Select reports there's no clear timeline for the former Women's World Champion's return. Her Fanatic signing was canceled as a result, and WWE is now scrambling to overhaul creative plans since Morgan was set to be a major player in 2025 programming. According to Fightful, talent backstage are gutted, as Morgan is highly respected and a beloved figure in the locker room. Joey Votes and TC from WrestleVotes Radio on WrestleBinge estimated a 6-month recovery for Morgan, but Fightful's report suggests any timeline is just a guess at this point. Naturally, many were worried about the Women's World Champion's injury. Even her on-screen rival, Rhea Ripley, dropped character to urge fans not to cheer for injuries. But what would have happened if the June 16th Liv Morgan-Kairi Sane match had ended as planned? On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer revealed that WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella was at the show and set to interfere in the match. Nikki Bella was there, and she was going to do a run-in in the Liv Morgan-Kairi Sane match to help set up, this next part of the angle, Meltzer said. This was meant to build on the June 9th Raw segment where Morgan and Nikki Bella shared the ring. Morgan bragged she'd have outshined Bella in her era and took a jab at Bella's real-life divorce from Artem Chigvintsev. It seemed a clash at Evolution was brewing, with WrestleVotes Radio reporting before the injury that WWE planned to bring back Brie Bella to reunite the Bella twins for a women's tag team championship match at the all-women's event. Now, that storyline appears dead, leaving uncertainty around the women's tag team championship. Vacating the title is one option, but WWE has used stand-in partners in the past to keep a reign alive. R-Truth is leaving WWE again. WWE legend R-Truth, also known as Ron Killings, isn't just riding a wave of nostalgia. A few weeks ago, he stunned fans by announcing on social media that WWE let him go, not by firing him, but by letting his contract expire without a new offer. This move became one of WWE's most slammed decisions lately, with fans and wrestlers alike ripping into the company for dropping a veteran like R-Truth so coldly, without any tribute or farewell. For days, Killings went radio silent, ignoring WWE's attempts to reach him. It took a personal call from Nick Khan to turn things around. What followed was a jaw-dropping return at Money in the Bank, where R-Truth cost John Cena and Logan Paul their tag team match against Cody Rhodes and then World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso. Gone is the goofy R-Truth fans adored for years. In his place is a deadly serious Ron "The Truth" Killings, embarking on a fierce final run. Story-wise, his drastic change stems from betrayal. John Cena, his childhood hero, disrespected him during their brief feud before Saturday night's main event, fueling Killings' rage. That anger drives him now. Since his return, Killings has ambushed Cena repeatedly and is now set to face him one-on-one in a non-title match this Friday on SmackDown. Could R-Truth actually beat Cena? It's a long shot, but not impossible. A win could skyrocket Killings' momentum, heat up the Cena-CM Punk rivalry, and echo a legendary wrestling moment from 14 years ago. One thing's clear, Ron Killings isn't just passing through. You don't claw your way back after a messy exit, retool your character, and use real-life drama for a short stint. WWE sees Killings' value, a true legend, still a beast in the ring, and a marketable star with more to give. If fans keep rallying behind him, and they likely will, Killings could stay near the top, especially tied to Cena's farewell tour. Whether their feud rages on, leads to peace, or stretches for months, Killings has carved out a fresh path in this last run, and the WWE universe is all in. To go out on a high note, tangled in his hero's retirement story after a shocking release? Who could have imagined wrestling in 2025 would get this wild? Fans might have dreamed up Cena's final year, but nobody saw this twist coming.